Hey guys, today's story is about a guy named Jeremy, who creates a player character just to spite one of his friends. This is almost a repressed memory. I haven't really thought about it in years, and it just suddenly reappeared to me, and this sure is the place to put it. This was in the D&D 4e days, when I was in high school. My friends and I were playing it as our very first tabletop RPG to just get a taste of what this new hobby could be like. As this was all our first characters, we all had some pretty seriously cringy characters. My guy was a vengeful, chaotic good human ranger named Vindictus Mayfair, Vin for short. Another highlight was my friend's neutral good avenger of Paylor named Light. Just Light. With his big old Zweihander. The party was 6 of us learning the ropes playing those sorts of characters. The DM of the group was a school friend of mine. Jeremy. Not his real name. Jeremy had a big personality. He was really confident, really confrontational, really strong and smart, and wanted you to know that he was. He had the biggest grasp of the rules of all of us, which was to say, still not a lot. So we mutually decided he could DM. He ran a pre-made thing he had slept a layer of homebrew over, and I have only vague yet fond memories of this formative time. And a horror story. I remember us infiltrating an abandoned village, infested with goblins, to scope it out so we could be ready to infiltrate and clear it out. Skirmishes and such ensued. The first big confrontation I had with Jeremy as DM was around using perception. As a new DM, he would have us all roll perception. A lot. We would ask prompting questions to get our bearings and information for theater of mind, and be asked to roll.
Can I see if he's armed?
Roll perception.
Is the woman taller than the man?
Roll perception.
How many ships are?
Roll perception.
I can't really understate it. If we asked if we could hear or smell or see something, we'd be asked to roll perception for the information. Of course, information right in front of us would sometimes be unavailable because we'd botch our perception rolls, and progress would stall as suddenly our faculties had stopped working. The inciting incident was when, one time, I asked about how many goblins there were around a campfire, about 30 feet away, and Jeremy asked me to roll perception. I remember making a snide remark along the lines of,
I can't just look with my eyes and count them. Like, how many are there? I'm going to take a step forward. Can I see if my legs are still there?
Then I sarcastically rolled perception. It got a laugh from around the table, as the other players did notice we were doing a lot for no real reason. In hindsight, I really regret being snarky. I remember Jeremy just saying,
Okay, fine. There are 4. Let's move on.
And the perception rolls stopped coming completely. After this, though, it was off to the races. Jeremy had it out for me. Not in the typical spiteful DM way of sending enemies specifically after me. No, that'd be too petty. He would do things like commenting on my playstyle, using his greater knowledge of the game. Or, after my turn, he would point out,
Oh, if you did this and used this feature, you would have done 4 more damage.
We were all still learning, and I didn't know my character perfectly. So I just took the advice and kept playing. It's only in hindsight I remember that he would only do this directed at me, and that it felt a bit vindictive. Later on, we were making a plan for infiltrating a building. As I was the only real dexterity character, while we were making the plan, we decided I'd lead a stealth team through the back, as a second team would go loud through the front. Jeremy pointed out,
You really should have played a rogue if you wanted to be stealthy. Rangers aren't stealthy.
I was a bit taken aback. It was the first time I'd ever really felt defensive of my silly little character, which had become even more silly over the sessions we'd played, and felt that player's right of,
Hey, it's my character,
welling up in me. I just pointed out at the trained stealth skill, and the big modifier for my dominant attribute, and said,
These mean I'm good at it, right? So I want to do it.
I remember feeling a bit of pride too. This was a big group of 6 players, and stealth and acrobatics were my character's niche. They were the only things exclusive to my character among the party. So we go in and execute the plan. 3 in the stealth team and 3 in the loud team. Things went wrong with the loud team quickly, so stealth was abandoned as a more straightforward pincer fight broke out instead as we bailed them out. In hindsight, I think maybe Jeremy didn't plan for us to split up and try 2 different plans at the same time, which might have been why he tried to discourage me from using stealth. After finishing this building encounter, we end up achieving our mission, but only just before the building is surrounded and we are arrested by town guards. Another player, Alan, expresses interest in wearing the DM hat for a while. So Jeremy sets to work designing a character as Alan starts doing his homework, ready to start with us escaping prison next session. We showed up the next week and start in our group cell, brainstorming ways to get out. We're interrupted after about 5 minutes of deliberation when a black fog billowed underneath the bars, and a pale man in all black materialized out of it. The mysterious gentleman, voiced by Jeremy, introduced himself as an agent of the Raven Queen. He continued that the hitherto unmentioned Raven Queen has other plans for us, as the cell doors swing open. The man says his name is Vince, and told us to follow him. What followed was a solid 10 minutes of narration from Vince sneaking and slicing through the 2 floors of the prison, and leading us to freedom, with Alan, the new DM, nodding along. The whole scene was really dictated by Jeremy. I remember him pointedly rolling an unprompted D20 and staring at me as he said,
That's a 25 on stealth.
There's no opportunity for us to help, as Vince steams ahead of us. In fact, I remember our Avenger, Light, offering assistance in the breakout and Vince dismissing him by saying,
This will be easier if you just let me do my work.
By the end of the 10 minutes of narration, I've realized that Jeremy has gone ahead and made the character he thinks I should have made. This stealthy assassin rogue, right down to the name Vince. I'm honestly kind of speechless. It's the only time I've heard of someone making a character just to spite someone else. I announce,
Alright, I'm out. It's been fun.
Shortly after the prison break. Alan is obviously a bit distraught. He didn't even get to wear the DM hat or get around to his prepared notes before someone was bailing out of his game. We paused the session to talk it over. I told Jeremy along the lines of,
You made a copy of my character, to take my niche, and even copied his name. And then the intro scene was basically a movie. You shouldn't have said Alan could DM if you were just going to keep controlling everything, like a DM. If your goal was to get rid of me, then you've won. This isn't fun anymore.
He again takes this as confrontational, and honestly just says,
Let's take this outside then.
And squares up. We were all teenagers at this point, and Jeremy did combat sports, whereas I was the very stereotypical nerd. The whole
I could beat up any of you if I wanted to.
Attitude was very much a big part of his personality. He was very proud of his physique and skills, and I just kind of laughed at the absurdity of everything. It didn't really feel real. The bully threatening to beat up a nerd over D&D. The rest of the group calmed him down, and I quickly packed up and went home, intentionally avoiding Jeremy from then on. I'm not quite sure what happened with the rest of the session. About a month later, I got a message from the remaining members of the group. Both Jeremy and Alan had left, and they were wondering if I wanted to get back into it. I'm really glad I accepted their offer, or this might have been the end of me playing TTRPGs. I felt really bad about Alan, who was actually a closer friend to me than Jeremy was. I reached out to him, and he said he had lost interest in D&D, and turned down our invite to keep playing. Citing work. I'm happy to report I still play with this group to this day, and we pivoted to 5e in 2015. I remember I reached out to Jeremy on Facebook years later to extend an olive branch, as we had totally stopped talking after this incident. I said,
"Hey, sorry about all that ugliness with the D&D. We were dumb teenagers."
I remember he cordially accepted the apology, but pointedly did not offer one of his own, or accept any blame. Honestly, I'm kinda glad he just mis-teleported out of my life. But in any case, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have a story that you'd like me to narrate, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.